I want to, thanks for joining us, Professor. I want to take off from your interview to our sister program, StoryCon, just this afternoon. And I want to take off from the point from what you said that you are getting ready to file a case at the Supreme Court to challenge this DOF circular. First of all, who is we? How many? Who's part of your group?
We're still finalizing our list, but that includes our organization Action for Economic Reforms, various groups of civil society, including beneficiaries of PhilHealth. We're also including doctors. So kasama po dyan si Dr. Tony Lechons, Dr. Minguita Padilla, Dr. Tony Dance, at iba't ibang organisasyon pa ng ating mga doktor. So maybe Friday we'll file the petition or early next week, and we'll also announce the different petitioners.
Just to clarify also, Professor Shelo, sa PhilHealth lang ba ito concerned, or is it the whole process na that we believe na is unconstitutional or illegal? Kasi meron ding na-remit na yung PDIC, I believe that's 30 billion, and nakaka-worry din yon in case magkaroon ng bank run, yun po yung inaasahan nating pondo pang bayad, no, sa mga depositors.
Right. Specifically for the legal case, this will pertain to the added provision in the General Appropriations Act. So it will cover all transfers that were done from the GOCC to the Department of Finance. We're basically questioning the constitutionality of that provision because the Constitution prohibits rider provision. And from our perspective, ito pong dinagdag na provision ng ating bicameral committee ay rider provision dahil siya ay essentially nag-a-amend ng napakaraming batas na tinatamaan dito sa ginawa nilang kautusan sa Department of Finance.
And to be clear, who is the defendant here? Is it the
Well, it will be the executive branch on the basis of issuing a circular, and then we're also going to be questioning the constitutionality of that provision, so Congress, that provision of the GAA.
Okay. Professor, siguro katanungan sa isipan ng marami is, why does PhilHealth have 89.9 billion pesos in excess funds? Ang sabi ng PhilHealth, this does not come from contributions but from government subsidy. So does that mean that there was an overestimate in terms of those subsidies?
Well, there are two sources of funds for PhilHealth. One is from the premium, from the contribution of individuals who are members of PhilHealth who can afford to pay the premium. The other source of fund for PhilHealth are the subsidies that would come from the payment or share of taxes from the tax on tobacco, alcohol, and the sugary beverages. We have sin tax laws, and we have the train law that specifically allotted this money to support PhilHealth. And this funding is for the premium of the marginalized sectors, the indigent, the senior citizens, individuals who cannot pay the premium. So it goes back to the principle of having a universal healthcare program. It does not discriminate. We want everyone to be included in the universal healthcare program of the country. So in this case, the big problem is it's very surprising that PhilHealth actually has an 89.9 billion peso balance, unspent fund, no? Because if you look at statistics, this is based on the NDHS data, the National Health Survey data of the Philippines, as pointed out by Dr. Tony Dance. If you look at it, the bottom 20% household in terms of wealth, only 1% of them are benefiting from PhilHealth. So obviously, there's under-enrollment, especially from the indigent sector. So what does this 89.9 billion peso mean? It's not a savings. Ito po ay refleksyon ng kapalpakan ng PhilHealth na gawin yung mandato niya na siguraduhin halos lahat ng Pilipino ay enrolled sa PhilHealth.
Okay, Prof, balikan lang muna natin, no? Kailan nyo ito napansin? Kasi malapit na tayo mag-2025 budget deliberations, budget season is upcoming. I was just wondering kung hindi pa ninyo napansin, I believe that was you, Mr. Men Santa Ana of Business World, JC Punong Bayan, and Zaiza Suzara, who we talked to last night. How did this crop up? How did this catch your notice? Dahil ba nag-point out sila around 2 months ago in Congress, si Representative Kimbo, na yun nga, underutilized yung funds, but kulang yung benefits. Samantala, pataas ng pataas yung contributions as per universal healthcare.
This information was actually shared to us by our friends from the medical sector, yung mga doctors natin. And they actually asked us about the validity of this proposal. And that's when we started reviewing and asking around for the related documents to this circular issued by the Department of Finance. And that's when we discovered this inserted provision regarding the unappropriated, unprogrammed fund of the government, and the instruction to PhilHealth to turn over the subsidy, the unspent subsidy of PhilHealth.
Okay, quick follow-up. Last night kasi I was asking Miss Saiza kung baga, galing kasi sa mga taxes, ganyan, di ba? Ang gulo-gulo ng deliberation. So, dahil ba hindi galing sa contributions, sapat na ba yun na explanation na pwede na bang, kumbaga, gamitin kung saan-saan? Or paano ba talaga gumagalaw yung mga funds? And also kung ang banggit niya kasi is, ang DOF only, kumbaga, nagpalabas sila ng circular dahil nauna na yung Congress to say, and therefore, dapat yung Congress daw yung, kumbaga, sa kanila nanggaling yung bola. How do we...
That's correct, because the circular of the Department of Finance is based on that provision of the General Appropriations Act. So nauna ang Congress na mag-utos sa DOF na gawin ito. But ang problem is, under the Universal Healthcare Law natin, it's very clear how the money of PhilHealth should be spent. There are only two ways on what PhilHealth should do. One is to increase or expand the benefits that we are getting from PhilHealth if they have money, extra money to do that, or to reduce our premium. Wala pong sinasabi doon na kung merong unspent money ang PhilHealth, ito ay kailangan ibalik sa national government. That's one. And then second, it goes against the idea of universal healthcare law nga. Because the point is, it's a socialized program. You have to be able to access and have access to insurance regardless of your capacity to pay the premium. So itong subsidy po nito, ang nire-reflect nito ay yung premium para sa mga mahihirap nating kababayan. So kung babawiin mo yan, ang nadideprive po ay yung mga mahihirap nating kababayan na sana ay na-enroll sa PhilHealth. Pero dahil sa kapalpakan ng PhilHealth, hindi po natin yan magagawa ngayon.
Right. That's why I was asking who is going to be the defendant in your suit, because technically it's Congress that enabled this. The DOF has issued a statement defending the move. It said partly, hibernating funds can help the nation without harming government corporations. It's better now than raising new taxes. And then it listed a slew of projects that still need to be funded. Some of them are critical projects, from agriculture to infrastructure. You came from DOF, Professor. Why do you not buy this?
Yes, I agree that hibernating funds is not a good use of money. But at the same time, I see that the reason why this fund is existing is because of the inefficiency of PhilHealth. Right? Shouldn't it also be our priority to ensure that the low-income households are enrolled in PhilHealth, that they should be protected, and that they have access to health insurance? So what the executive branch should be doing is to force PhilHealth to improve its performance. If they're saying that infrastructure, the small projects, etc., are all priorities, I think we should also prioritize the health of our people. And so it's not a valid excuse that just because there's this unspent fund in PhilHealth will let PhilHealth off the hook in terms of its inefficiency, just take the money and put it somewhere else. I think we have to be very clear about this. This money was intended for Filipino to have health coverage para po maibsan yung kahirapan sa pagbabayad ng hospitalisasyon, sa pagkakasakit, etc. Yun po yung purpose ng batas. Ngayon, ang ginagawa po natin, nagbubulag-bulagan tayo, we're denying basically the Filipino people of their right to have access to better health care. If we're gonna deny them of this insurance coverage. Natutuwa nga ako because I was listening to the statement of PhilHealth. They're saying that they have enough funds to cover everyone who are under the benefit plan. But the point is, part of their mandate is also to ensure that the marginalized nga, all senior citizens, those who cannot pay the premium should be enrolled. And based on the data, 1% of the bottom 20% are the only ones benefiting. So we're the 19%, diba? So that those are the individuals, households that they should target, and they should ensure to be enrolled in the PhilHealth program.
Okay, Professor, can you explain to us how unprogrammed appropriations are computed? Because I believe it was also contested back in the BICAM when they inserted from 281.9 billion to 731.4 billion yung unprogrammed appropriations. Paano nga ba, saan nanggagaling yung mga numerong yun? At anong mga programa usually ang inilalagay doon?
So, the National Expenditure Program, ito po yung proposed budget ng executive branch. Nanggagaling po yan sa iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno, kino-consolidate, identify ng executive yung total budget natin at ipapasa po yan sa Kongreso para tingnan at i-review ng Congress. Ang function ng Congress ay maaari silang mag-reallocate ng pera sa iba't ibang programa, sa iba't ibang proyekto, pero hindi nila pwedeng lakihan yung size ng budget. Ito pong unprogrammed fund ay kasama na doon sa proposal ng iba't ibang ahensya. Ang reason po kung bakit tinatawag na unprogrammed fund ay yung mga projects na to, the only way that they can be implemented is if the government has extra revenue. Meaning kung nagkaroon po ng new taxes na na-implement, ibig sabihin may karagdagang pera yung government o kaya kumita tayo sa halimbawa nagkaroon ng changes sa exchange rate. Tumaas ang dolyar, tataas ang tax na kailangan mong bayaran kung ikaw ay nag-i-import ng good. So magkakaroon ng dagdag na revenue yung government dyan. Pagka pumasok yung dagdag na revenue on top of what was projected to be the revenue for the year, then pwede na nating pondohan itong unprogrammed programs and projects na to. Kaya kadalasan yan, dinidetermine mga third quarter of the year, fourth quarter of the year, kung sigurado na tayo na mapupondohan natin yung portion na programmed, yung may nakalaan na budget. Ngayon, what happened in this recent move of Congress for the 2024 GAA is they've increased that unprogrammed fund from around 200 billion pesos to 700 billion pesos. Basta nadagdagan siya ng around 450 billion pesos. So, a number of congressmen also questioned the constitutionality of that because, as we said, according to the Constitution, the mandate of Congress is to review and reallocate the budget, but they cannot expand the budget. Hindi pa natin pwedeng palakihin yung pie. Pwede nating baguhin yung paghahati, pagsa-slice ng pie. Pero yung size ng pie should stay the same. Pero yung ginawa ng bicameral committee, this is not the whole Congress pa nga eh. This was just done by the bicameral committee. What they did is to increase the size of the unprogrammed fund. But not only that, no? Kasi usually ang ilalagay mo sa unprogrammed fund, yung hindi na masyadong priority. Kasi nga maghihintay ka pa ng pondo para ma-implement mo yan. But what these members of the bicameral committee did is to remove some of the planned projects under the program sa mga ibang ahensya natin, yung mga priorities doon, nilipat nila doon sa unprogrammed. And then they started inserting their pet projects in that programmed portion of the budget. Parang napaka self-centered interest lang. Kasi this did not undergo deliberation. Kasi ang budgeting process natin, napakahaba niyan. Beginning from the departments, sa agencies na nagpo-propose, dapat may consultation na yan. The public can scrutinize, review, examine, listen to the deliberation. But this insertion of their pet projects under the programmed appropriation, this was done during the bicameral committee hearing. And then, yun yung mga na-identify na priorities, yun yung nilagay nila sa unprogrammed fund. Kaya ngayon, they're cramming. They added that provision to make sure that there will be funding for this unprogrammed appropriations. If you look at the items, one of the items is AFP modernization. I checked it because originally, it's part of the DND budget for AFP modernization. And then it was reduced by 100 million and was transferred to the unfunded program. Okay? And then, if you also look at the budget of the DPWH, it was increased by 100 billion. So yung mga pet projects sa mga congressman at senador natin, dyan pumasok karamihan siguro sa DPWH. So it's very, very problematic.
Okay, we've run out of time. We want to keep talking
many
to you
questions
about
still.
this, so we'll try.
It's very complicated.
It is, but it's
But
also
So interesting.
it's also an important topic. But we'll
Yeah.
try to have you back again, Professor Magno, when you filed your suit
Yep.
at the Supreme Court, and then we can hash out the details of that. Thanks so much for taking time out to talk to us tonight, Shelo Magno, former Finance Undersecretary.